Hi, this is Anita from 5 Minutes with Art. One of the things I'd like to talk about today, and if any of you have been listening to my little short podcast that I do here, you'd notice that one thing that I like to talk about a lot, or the artist, one of my favorite artists is Vincent Van Gogh. I want to kind of answer the question as to why Vincent Van Gogh was not appreciated during his lifetime. And this is kind of a question a lot of people wonder, he's been such a great artist, and he's one of the most popular artists now who's ever lived. But yet during his own lifetime, he was not appreciated at all. And here are some of the reasons why. One of the first reasons is that he simply died too young. If he had lived, into his 80s or his 70s, he probably would have seen success. But he actually died when he was quite young. So ended up killing himself almost just at the time when his work was starting to be noticed and starting to become popular. So you could say one of the tragedies of Vincent Van Gogh is that if he had lived even 10 years longer or 20 years longer, he probably would have seen quite a bit of success in his lifetime. The other thing was that his mental illness was affecting him and his work. That's really one of the problems, is that, his whole mental illness, going in and out of all these institutions, was affecting him. He sometimes wasn't able to work, other times he could work. And that was really something that was really, really affecting him and his ability to produce art. His look and his style was very new for his era. Impressionism was very popular then, a lot of the light colors. But Vincent Van Gogh came in with a very different style, these bold colors, these different brush strokes. He was very, very different for the time. So, that's why a lot of people looked at his work and they just weren't sure. I don't know. Is this something we like or we don't like? He was starting to gain popularity, as I mentioned before, when he died. And that he was known to only have sold a few paintings in his lifetime. And the main painting that people talk about is Anita. She was another artist, and she bought one of his paintings. But also there's some record that says that his brother sent a self-portrait to London. So I think instead of just selling one painting, he maybe sold maybe two in his lifetime, but really it wasn't very many at all. So, here he is, produces massive amount of art. His brother, Theo, is supporting him financially. He doesn't have any income coming in. He's depressed. He's in mental hospitals. And, the people were being very mean to him. They didn't like him. They were afraid of him, especially after he cut off his ear. There were some petitions being made that they wanted to get rid of him, get him out of the town. He was ostracized. He didn't have friends. So in a lot of ways, he really had a very, very hard life. So, you can kind of, in a way, when you look at that, you can understand why. And there's been some speculation where some people have said that they think that maybe Vincent Van Gogh was suffering from some type of poisoning due to the oil paints. And, because the oil paints during that time, they had a lot of toxins in them. So it could be that somehow he was reacting to all the toxins in the oil paints, which was making him, have this depression, go crazy, and, do all these different things that he was doing. I don't think we can talk about Vincent Van Gogh without talking about his sister-in-law, Joanne Van Gogh Bonger. She was amazing. She's the one that really raised the awareness of his work. After Vincent died, 6 months later, her husband died, left her with a small child. She packed up all those paintings, took all those paintings with her to Holland, and she strategically, one by one, began to sell them and get his work out there. And she spent her lifetime trying to get awareness for Vincent Van Gogh and his work. And so really, it's to her that we own the credit. Her life was difficult then. She lost her husband. She was left with all these paintings. She had a small child. She could have just burned them. She could have just thrown them away, but she didn't. She kept them. She preserved them. And it's because of Joanne and her son, Vincent Wilhelm Van Gogh, who is named after his uncle, that we today have that Van Gogh Museum, and that we have so many pieces of his work, and that we know about him and what a great artist he was. I hope you'd enjoy this. I will put a link into our website about this, about why Vincent Van Gogh was not appreciated during his lifetime. If you'd like to read more about it, it's quite a fascinating read. But we love Vincent Van Gogh. We truly appreciate him. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you'll subscribe and be part of our community. And we'd like to thank you. And also thank Rico for help, the technical aspects of making this all happen.